Hello and welcome back to my channel. Jacob Payton here, and today we'll be talking about Savage by Richard Laymon. I know it's been a while since I've talked about a Richard Laymon novel. I had a goal last year where I was going to read all of Richard Laymon's books, and it was a very good goal. I am still trying to finish all of Richard Laymon's books, don't get me wrong, but I definitely got burned out there. But I am continuing to reading. I've finished this book, and then I'm almost done with A Night in Lonesome October. I may have just messed that title up, as well as I've completely blanked on the title, but it's the cover where the axe is in the stump, and it is about a camping trip gone very, very wrong. So there will be some more Richard Laymon reviews coming at you. I wish I had finished another book first because, sadly, I did not like Savage. I did not like it for several reasons, which I will get into, and this will be a spoiler-free review. I will not spoil the ending, but I will lay out the things I didn't like about this book. So, first off, Whitechapel, November 1888. Jack the Ripper is hard at work. He's safe behind a locked door in a one-room hovel with his unfortunate victim, Mary Kelly. With no need to hurry for once, he takes his time, gleefully eviscerating the young woman. He doesn't know that a 15-year-old boy is cowering under Mary's bed. Trevor Bentley's life would never be the same after that night. What he saw and heard would have driven many men mad. But for Trevor, it was the beginning of a quest, an obsession to stop the most notorious murder in England. The killer's trail of blood will lead Trevor from the fog-shrouded alleys of London to the streets of New York and beyond. But Trevor will not stop until he comes face to face with the ultimate horror. So that's not quite correct, that second part. Trevor isn't so much obsessed, at least early on, with tracking Jack the Ripper, as he is constantly thrown into the presence of Jack the Ripper. He does escape this hiding under the bed. He escapes hiding under the bed where but the killer notices that he was there. So when the killer tries to hunt him down, he hides on a boat which is headed to America, and of course the killer finds his way on the boat where he tortures and kills another woman while on the boat, with the whole crew and everything on the boat, and they make their way to America. And this is really only the beginning of the problem I have with the book, because I just can't suspend my disbelief, especially once they make it to the part where they're in the Old West. Because basically throughout the whole book, Jack the Ripper is only armed with a knife. A single knife or a straight razor. And while he sometimes does have hostages, it's just insane to me to try and believe that no one would just rush him and take the knife. Yeah, you're gonna get cut, but there's times where there's 3 and 4 guys, and they just stand there, and they're like, well, he has a knife, and then, unshockingly, they are all then killed one by one by this guy that is holding them all hostage with a single knife. So, yeah, I mean, there's even parts where Trevor talks about it, because once again, the whole story is from Trevor's point of view. And it's just where Trevor's like, oh no, there's a knife. And while, Richard Laymon does oftentimes writes these kind of situations where it's hard for me to believe that everyone just kind of stands there, most of the time, when he does this, at least so far in my reading experience, the killers have a gun. And that's a little more believable for me, because if it is a lot of people all staring down the barrel of a gun, it makes more sense for them to stop. But a knife can only get one person at a time, and there's a good chance it'll get stuck in the first person they stab. So that was very hard for me to believe, especially once he gets to the Old West where there are cowboys and gunslingers and people who are in this dangerous, rough and tumble environment where they have seen wounds like this. I just find it very hard to believe that half of these armed cowboys wouldn't have just shot him. Even if Trevor wasn't willing to. And that was another another kind of weird thing for me throughout this book, where Trevor really wants to bring the guy to justice. He wants him to face punishment for his crimes, where it really seems, especially after the boat ride, when they're all put through torture, that the most realistic character development Trevor would just try to kill him, instead of constantly trying to get people together to arrest him. And also there's the fact that the whole book begins by Trevor stopping someone from assaulting his mother, and them tying this, well, not even tying this person up, just leaving him knocked out, and he's going to go get help, which he kind of never does. So we never really, I mean, there might be some stuff in the end. I don't want to spoil that for anybody, but it feels like that is a loose thread throughout most of the book, as is a lot of his time in America. It's just a lot. This was not one of my favorite Richard Laymon books, obviously. I didn't really like the Jack the Ripper character because it did feel so unbelievable. I mean, at least the last time, like when I was reading Endless Night and stuff like that, these types of like serial killers, there was a lot of them. Or even The Island, where, A, the guy had a gun, and B, he knew the terrain. He had already staked out his claim on this island and had planned it all out. So our protagonist in that book was playing against this guy who was already 3 or 4 steps ahead and wasn't trying to survive on a desert island, right? He had electricity and water and so on and so forth. So, yeah, this book was just very, very unbelievable. And I know that's a weird thing to say about a fiction book, but I just could not suspend my disbelief long enough to really get into this book, or really even find it enjoyable. I did not like Trevor either as a main character, because it does really feel like, his attempts to stop Jack the Ripper really just constantly turn into him being Jack the Ripper's audience. And so it's very hard to see him as a hero because he doesn't do a whole lot to actually like stop him in the moment, if that makes sense. Like I don't really know how to explain that better, but it's hard to see him as a hero when he doesn't seem willing to ever want to put his own life on the line, right? He wants to find people that are going to do it for him. And it tends to just lead to him getting more and more people wrapped up and becoming victims for Jack the Ripper. So yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of this book. I know a lot of people love it. I really am not trying to be a contrarian when it comes to Richard Laymon, because obviously I do like a lot of Richard Laymon books. I just don't like this one and The Traveling Vampire Show, which for some reason is everyone's 2 favorites, it seems like. If you love this book, if you hated it, let me know in the comments. And I do promise there will be more Richard Laymon content, so if you did subscribe to the channel for that, I promise it's coming down the line. And as always, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.